So before you start planning your project, you should look at the specification, download the specification for your specific exam board for EPQ, and look at the weightings of each assessment objective, see what's important. So maybe it's that your actual artifact or dissertation isn't as high of a percentage as you think. I think it's worth about 12 marks total for OCR, so not a lot. So it's important that you plan your time thinking about all the aspects of the project and ensure that you can get the highest possible marks. So don't just think about the final project. So here you can see, if I'm looking at OCR exam board, they've got all the assessment objectives lines out. So the first one is manage. So this is making sure that you can plan and organise your time well, applying a range of skills and meeting your objectives. And then 2, we've got using the resources. So this is all your research, how you organise your information, how you evidence it, and how you select what parts of your research are the best. So when I said before that you should have 30 sources of research, there should be more research. It's just 30 that you've selected that are really useful towards your project. So then we've got develop and realise. So this is using your range of skills to develop what you've learned, develop your research, and problem solve. And then the review, so this would be all the peer reviews I talked about, all the reflections, all your skills trackers, all of that, just reviewing how your project's going and how you can improve along the way. And then here we can see the weightings of the assessment objectives. So we see that 40% of it is assessment objective 3, which is double the amount of all the other ones. So this is important, noting that you probably want to spend double the amount of time on assessment objective 3 than the other ones. And then it also, in the specification, it tells you everything you need to know. So it tells you that you're expected to spend 120 hours on it. It will tell you how you want to present, how they want you to present it, and it's really useful for this. So here you can see the bands. So this assessment objective 1, and it will tell you specifically how many marks out of 12 or 24 for AO3, depending on what band they think you're in. So what I would do is, at some point in the middle of your project and at the end of your project, go through all the assessment objectives and look at these bands, look at these specific pages on your specification, and highlight the specific words that you think you are right now. So do you think, for example, you think your identification and selection of theme topic, which is informed and provides appropriate scope for the project, or maybe it's more brief, maybe it's over here. And how can you make it over here? How can you make it band 4? So that's what you've got to determine. And maybe you could also sit down with the teacher. If you don't think it's that high, sit down with your EPQ mentor and ask, how can I bring it up to a band 4? Because as it's a coursework subject, you can get all the marks before. Like, if you look at the bands and you ensure that you are in the top bands, then you're perfectly fine and you have nothing to worry about when you hand it in. So here you can see AO2, and it's the same again, and this is the marks at the top. So do you think you're at the middle, or do you think you're at the low end and you could risk moving down a band? If so, how do you push it to the top of the band? And here we can see AO3, and you can see that's out of 24 instead of 12. So there's double the amount of marks in each band. And same, AO4 out of 12. And then you can read through all the spec, see what you need to know, and then see if you have special considerations. So this is just really important to go through, and it's also important that you have a student declaration form when you send in your EPQ. So this is just sort of saying what school you go to and the candidate number, and that just tells them where they should file your EPQ. So I hope that helps, and make sure you do read through this before planning, because it will be really helpful.